Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad you're here with us today, and I hope you're just as excited as I am for another amazing episode. If you've been following along, then you already know we've been diving deep into the emotional and heartwarming journey of Tieu Ca as she steps into motherhood. And of course, we can't forget the gentle, loving care that Hmong continues to show her. Their story has been nothing short of touching, and I know many of you have been waiting to see what happens next. But today, we're switching things up just a bit. While we wait for the next chapter in Tieu Ca's story, I've got something equally captivating lined up for you. That's right. Today's episode introduces a brand new character, someone who's just as compelling and complex as Tieu Ca herself. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss a single second. So grab your snacks, settle in, and get ready. Because this episode is packed with fresh twists, heartfelt moments, and a whole new perspective that adds even more depth to our ongoing series. Whether you're here for the drama, the emotional connection, or just to relax and enjoy some good storytelling, we've got you covered. Make sure to hit that like button if you enjoy the episode, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. We've got plenty more stories coming your way, and you won't want to miss a thing. Now, without further ado, let's jump into today's episode. I can't wait to hear what you think. Today's episode follows the powerful and emotional journey of Tieu Huyen, a single mother doing everything she can to build a better life for her daughter. Huyen's story is one of heartbreak, resilience, and quiet strength. She once lived with her husband's family, desperately trying to fulfill the role of a devoted wife and daughter-in-law. But when she gave birth to a baby girl instead of the long-expected son, everything changed. Her in-laws turned cold. Her husband, instead of standing by her, sided with his mother and allowed their cruelty to continue unchecked. He never protected her, not once. Instead, he grew distant, abusive, and eventually violent. Over and over, he forced her out of the house with nothing but her child in her arms and pain in her heart. But Huyen is not a woman who gives up. After countless nights of tears and fear, she made the most courageous decision of her life, to leave. She walked away from that toxic, loveless environment and chose to raise her daughter on her own. No support, no promises, just pure determination. Was it easy? Not even close. Life outside that home was filled with uncertainty. Every day was a battle for food, for shelter, for safety. But through it all, Huyen never stopped fighting. With her bare hands and unshakable will, she worked tirelessly to provide her daughter with a better future, one filled with dignity, warmth, and love. This isn't just a story about survival. It's about what it means to be a mother. It's about how far a woman will go to protect her child, even when the world turns its back on her. As you watch this episode, I hope you feel the weight of Huyen's courage. Her strength is quiet but powerful. Her journey is painful but inspiring, and her love, fierce and unconditional, is what makes this story truly unforgettable. Even though Huyen's journey has been filled with hardship, it's also been one of quiet triumph. No longer living under the crushing pressure and cruelty of her in-laws, she's finally started to rebuild her life slowly but surely on her own terms. Freed from the emotional abuse and constant rejection she once faced, Huyen has begun to experience something she hadn't felt in years: peace. While the road has still been far from easy, she's no longer trapped in a place where she was treated as worthless simply because she didn't bear a son. For the first time in a long time, she's been met with kindness not from her past, but from strangers and kind-hearted souls who saw her struggle and chose to lend a helping hand. And that help? It changed everything. Day by day, through grit and determination, Huyen has managed to carve out a life for herself and her daughter. She's worked multiple jobs, made sacrifices, and pushed through exhaustion just to keep going. And now, all that effort has led to something beautiful, a new beginning. After many days of tireless effort, she finally found a small but peaceful piece of land to call her own. There, with the help of her community and her unwavering drive, she started building a house, her very first home. It's still a work in progress and far from luxurious. The walls are bare, the roof isn't perfect, and it doesn't yet have all the comforts most people take for granted. But to Huyen and her daughter, it's everything. It's a place they can finally call theirs, a space free from fear, a shelter that keeps out the rain and shields them from the burning sun. It's the foundation of a new life, built not just with bricks, but with hope. This home represents far more than a roof over their heads. It's a symbol of Huyen's strength, her love for her daughter, and her refusal to let her past define her future. In that modest little house, filled with laughter and dreams, she is showing her child and herself that even after the darkest nights, the sun still rises. So as we follow Huyen's story, let's not just see the struggle, let's celebrate the victories, however small they may seem. Because for a mother who once had nothing but pain and rejection, building a home, no matter how simple, is nothing short of a miracle. At first light, a gentle hush still cloaked the valley as a young mother. Her lively little daughter and their scrappy terrier padded down the narrow dirt path toward the brook that wound behind their house. Morning mist hung low over the water, and the air smelled of wet earth and wildflowers. They'd turned this short, simple walk into a cherished daily ritual. The cool stream doubled as bathhouse and playground, a place where chores felt like play and every splash echoed with laughter. The girl, no taller than her mother's hip, giggled as the dog bounded ahead, sending tiny arcs of water into the air. The mother, sleeves rolled past her elbows, dipped a bamboo ladle into the current and let the crisp water run through her fingers before pouring it gently over her daughter's hair. Moments like these, when time seemed to crawl and worries floated downstream, were their secret way of recharging before the long day's hustle began. Once they were scrubbed clean and smelling faintly of river mint, the pair headed back up the path to their modest stilt house. Inside, the mother slung a woven rattan pack, big enough to dwarf her small frame, over her shoulders. Working together, they checked supplies, a short machete for cutting vines, sun hats, and a handful of sticky rice cakes wrapped in banana leaf. The family dog took his self-appointed post, trotting just ahead as informal trail scout. Their goal was clear and urgent: gather as many wild greens as they could before the midday heat settled over the forest. These edible leaves, peppery pennywort, tender fern tips, and bright lemony sorrel, were prized by tourists who flocked to a nearby eco-resort for authentic mountain cuisine. If they harvested quickly and sold out fast, the little family could clear enough cash to stretch their week's budget, Maybe even afford a new pair of sandals for the girl. The climb into the hills was steep but familiar. Birds chattered overhead. Cicadas drummed like distant maracas. The mother moved with deft efficiency, using her machete to slice slender vines and reach young shoots high on rocky outcrops. Every so often, she taught her daughter how to separate edible leaves from lookalikes, a skill passed down for generations. They worked in rhythm: snip, toss into the pack, snip, toss. The dog weaved around their ankles, occasionally startling a lizard or nosing at mossy tree trunks. With the sun still low, cool shadows sheltered them, and in less than 2 hours the pack bulged, its straps creaking under the weight of emerald bounty. By late morning, they began the descent toward the resort. The path opened to a wide gravel road fringed with souvenir stalls, coffee carts, and clusters of tourists in bright windbreakers. The mother laid out a mat at the market's entrance, spreading the greens in neat mounds so passers-by could see the freshness. Dew still clung to the leaves. She kept her prices fair, hoping volume would trump margin. Almost immediately, curious travelers stopped, drawn by the unusual varieties and the mother's warm smile. A chef from the resort's kitchen sampled a sprig, nodded approvingly, and bought half her supply on the spot. A young couple planning a picnic purchased bundles of fern tips, charmed by the daughter's shy, "Thank you." Within 30 minutes, the mat lay empty except for a single stray leaf the dog sniffed before it blew away in the breeze. The mother counted her earnings, more than she'd dared hope, and slipped the folded bills into a cloth purse she tucked beneath her blouse. With their business done, the trio decided to linger and enjoy the sights usually reserved for paying guests. They wandered through sculpted gardens where koi swam beneath arched wooden bridges, then followed a bamboo boardwalk to a lookout that framed the valley like a living postcard. The mother knelt so her daughter could peer through the railing at a waterfall, carving silver ribbons into dark rock below. The constant roar of water mixed with distant laughter from other visitors. Yet a quiet settled over them, a hush that sounded like peace. They didn't have much, but in that moment the world felt generous. Pockets fuller than at dawn, bellies pleasantly empty in anticipation of the rice cakes they'd packed, and a panorama no five-star hotel could improve upon. They found a shaded knoll and unwrapped their lunch. The sticky rice was soft and slightly sweet from coconut milk. The mother fed small bites to the dog, who wagged his thanks with unrestrained joy. As the trio ate, they planned the week ahead, tomorrow's harvest, repairs needed on the house roof, and maybe, just maybe, an afternoon off to attend the village festival if the earnings held steady. The daughter's eyes sparkled at the mention of colorful lanterns and drum parades. The mother nodded, a subtle promise to find balance between survival and celebration. When the sun tipped westward, they began the journey home. The resort's cheerful chaos faded behind them, replaced by the low hum of cicadas rising for their evening chorus. Along the path, golden light slanted through tree branches, turning dust motes into glitter. The mother felt the day's fatigue settle into her shoulders, yet contentment rose higher. She glanced at her daughter skipping ahead with the dog and realized that every early morning, every uphill climb, every negotiation over a bundle of greens mattered. Together, these small acts stitched a safety net strong enough to hold their dreams. Back at the brook, they paused. The daughter knelt to let water run over her fingertips, and the dog lapped thirstily at the edge. The brook had been witness to their sunrise start. Now it bookended their day with cooling comfort. The mother cupped water to her face, washing away sweat and forest dust. She watched the setting sun paint the sky in sherbet hues and allowed herself a rare, lingering breath. Tomorrow would bring its own set of challenges. Storms could flatten crops. Tourists might thin. But for now, life felt rich in the ways that counted. Health, hope, and the unbreakable bond between a mother, her child, and their faithful four-legged companion. As dusk settled, tiny fireflies winked on like floating embers. The mother slung the empty pack across her back, not heavy with goods, but with the promise of another full day. They walked home in easy silence, footsteps soft on the pine needle path, escorted by the growing chorus of nocturnal creatures. In the dim light, the dog's wagging tail marked their progress like a metronome. Home awaited, a simple meal of sautéed greens set aside from the harvest, stories exchanged in the glow of an oil lamp, and the comfort of knowing they had once again turned the forest's gifts into sustenance. Somewhere in the stillness between one breath and the next, the mother realized that while the world outside her valley might measure success in dollars or likes, her own metrics were far less complicated. Did her daughter laugh today? Did she earn enough to keep the pantry stocked? Did they pause, if only for a heartbeat, to marvel at the beauty that demanded nothing in return? The answers, all resounding yeses, wrapped around her like a warm blanket. And so the trio pressed on through the gathering dark, guided by the steady glow of fireflies and the quiet conviction that tomorrow, with its dawn mist and rushing stream, would offer another chance to find joy in the ordinary and turn it into something extraordinary.
Xin chào các bạn, rất vui được chào đón các bạn trở lại với kênh của mình. Nếu bạn đã theo dõi hành trình từ đầu, chắc chắn bạn đã quen thuộc với câu chuyện đầy cảm xúc và truyền cảm hứng của Tieu Ca. Những thử thách cô ấy đã trải qua, nghị lực làm mẹ đầy mạnh mẽ và sự ân cần, âm thầm nhưng sâu sắc của Hùng đã chạm đến trái tim của nhiều người. Hôm nay, trong lúc chờ đợi những diễn biến tiếp theo trong hành trình làm mẹ của Tieu Ca, mình muốn gửi đến các bạn một điều đặc biệt. Trong tập phim này, chúng ta sẽ tạm thời chuyển hướng một chút để giới thiệu với các bạn một nhân vật mới không hề kém phần cuốn hút, sâu sắc và cảm xúc so với Tieu Ca. Đây là một người phụ nữ có quá khứ riêng, là có những bí ẩn chưa từng được kể và một hành trình sống mà có thể đan xen với câu chuyện của Tieu Ca theo những cách mà bạn không bao giờ ngờ tới. Đây không chỉ là một chuyện bên lề mà là một góc nhìn mới, một nhịp đập mới với thế giới câu chuyện mà chúng ta đã cùng nhau khám phá, với cuộc sống mà đâu chỉ có một lối đi nhất. Đôi khi chúng ta cũng những con người gặp trên hành trình với những lựa chọn và những bóng tối, ánh sáng của họ là điều làm thay đổi tất cả. Vậy nên hãy chuẩn bị đón nhận cuộc hành trình này bằng một tâm thế cảm xúc tuyệt vời nhất bạn nhé.